I want my adult child tell me what I've done wrong. I mean, I have asked several times and I never seem to get the answer, right? I know that I go through it over and over in my head all night long. Sometimes I'm questioning the question, right? What did I do that could be considered that I've done something wrong, that there was a mistake, that it was so significant that it changed the course of or the direction of our relationship, right? Um, it's one of those questions that I will forget about. And all of a sudden, especially in the morning when I wake, early in the morning when I wake up, that, the question returns. What did I do wrong? What was it? What exactly is it? We revisit it over and over again. If you are an estranged parent, if you are having an estranged adult child, um, you know, it becomes part of your fabric, this question. What was it? What was it? And the truth of it is that the thing that we're searching for is not what was it or what did I do, but it's the overall underlining reason. Because in my mind, I'm trying to figure out if it was something so significant that that was what was processed for them to make the decision to, completely recategorize our relationship, put it in a different type of category, put it in, it's estranged. That's the title of our relationship right now. It's estranged, right? But I think about all the other significant things that I've done for our relationship, things that, sometimes looks like I've walked water, uh, and you can't really understand why so much what you've done doesn't outweigh the thing that you can't even get an answer to, right? You know, um, I think that the struggle is the silence, right? The silence seems to be the thing that has the answer locked up, if you will. Um, you know, that I can't get any kind of answer, that there's no response to the question. It doesn't matter how often, I seem to try to readdress it, or try to see if something would, a poke or anything like that would, you know, trigger something that would give me a clue even, right? You know, it's not a game, but it's a name that thing kind of thing, right? you know, I laugh now, but I'm laughing out of, to reflect on the dynamics of what has evolved, has really just, um, doesn't make sense for me to process, right? I'm not being able to process. And that's no disrespect or disregard to what my adult child is doing or processing or how he has received something. It's more of, I can't seem to make the shift of how I perceive things to be, and obviously strikingly different than how he has perceived things, right? And so, you know, the answer that seems to be, you know, the only thing that's coming forth, the only thing that I can deal with, the only thing that, um, that I try to be able to reconcile with this question, is the silence, right? The silence is the answer. The silence is the the overarching shell, maybe, or the container of the answer. Um, but when there is silence, that's the answer. I'm not sure if that's a good answer, but and nor does it explain anything. It leaves so much room for the mind to go in so many different directions. But when I think about it, the silence, it almost speaks louder if I were to get an answer. And I'm not sure if that makes sense, right? Because the imagination, again, is just going to take off. But I'm thinking that the silence is because they can't put their finger on it. They can't really articulate it. They can't really deliver it to the point where it's going to be justified or validated or received. Because when something wants to be said, when something was uh, responded to a question, it had no problems coming forth in the emotion at the moment, right? But this question gets silence. Now, I can't speak for all of our children. I can't speak for all of our circumstances. I can't even speak for the um, the parents who are dealing with estranged adult children because of something specific that they already know that they did get the answer to, or it was at least a hint, right? But I'm talking about those parents, and I know there's a bunch of us out there that the estrangement doesn't make sense. I didn't see it coming. It wasn't something I thought that my relationship with him would ever evolve to. It wasn't something that I can point to. The fact that I can't answer this question myself says that there is a void. There is a void in the understanding. There is a void in the break, right? What was it, right? And not just what was it, what was the reason? How come? And we don't ask it because we just want to be able to check a box. We're asking it because we're looking for the reason. It's the reason we don't know. It's the thing or things that created that separation, right? Um, and so to be asking it is not to say there's any kind of disregard or disrespect or not taking things seriously or not validating where you are. It is a truthful um, posture of my heart that I really want to understand. I really want to be able to say, I understand why. I understand your reason. I understand that the estrangement was something that maybe needed to happen in order to be able to, go back to our starting points or readdress it. What we all want to do is fix it, right? That's the reason why. That's the reason that we want to understand. That's the reason that the silence, is all that I have right now, is the answer. And so I can't speculate for your children or why, the thing that you did wrong is the same thing that I did wrong. For the parents who don't know, the parents who are truly struggling, what was it? Because you loved so hard. The love was who you were, that you poured out without even thinking about it, right? That's the part that you don't understand, that something outweighed that, right? Something outweighed what you felt for your child, what you were doing for your child for years, right? And so what else was going on for years that, I didn't see, you know? So the question is genuine. Why won't they tell me? Why won't he tell me? What did I do wrong? because that's what's going to, I feel, make the difference, right? Bring on a switch, bring on a new light, something that would help us, right? But I can't get that part. And the only thing is my answer right now, and I don't know if this works for you, but silence is the answer. Silence is what's encapsulating the reason. Silence is what's driving the status of estrangement, right? Silence. And so silence is what I live with when I ask myself the question, what is it that I've done wrong? When people look at me and they've got questions, silence is my answer. Silence is what it is. Silence is it. It has now become something that is a part of my life. I've got this manhole on my street. It's been there for years, to the point now I don't even have to look to see where it is. I don't even need to, uh, uh, prepare for not to fall into that manhole. It is there. I know it's open. I don't know why. Sometimes there's some alert or warning around it, like a flag or a cone or something, whatever. Why that manhole is there, I really don't know. But it exists. I know it's there. And in my mind, not knowing what I've done wrong is like the manhole, right? It exists. And why it exists, I don't know the answer to that. But it exists. Just like, what did I do wrong in his mind exists. But so how do I live? I live knowing the manhole is there. I live knowing that I expect it to be there. I live walking around the manhole. I live functioning knowing the manhole is going to be there. As I leave, manhole is going to be there when I come back, right? But it exists. And what's in the bottom of that manhole, I have no idea. Why the manhole is open, I have no idea. Why is it after all this time the manhole is still there? I don't know, right? And I know I'm not going to be able to get an answer to that. No one's going to be able to give me that answer. And so you function knowing what you can do that's best for you to avoid falling into the manhole. And so I avoid falling into the manhole of silence, because my imagination, my questioning can take off. They say the rabbit hole, right? And you get caught someplace all by yourself and you come out of it and you still don't have an answer. You still don't have an answer. You still don't know what's wrong. And so that's where I am today, to the question of why won't my adult child tell me what did I do wrong? The only answer I have is silence. And the silence represents the manhole. And the depth of it, I'm not sure. What's down there, I'm not sure. What it could be, I'm not sure. But it exists. And so it exists to the point that it becomes now part of you. And now that it is a part of you, how do you live? How do I live? Right? Because I still have a life to live. But this is part of the fabric of my memories, of my current existence, of my relationship with my estranged child, adult child, right? But life still goes on, and that's how I live. And so, for me, when I make associations, tying things to situations, dynamics that I really can't put my finger on, giving it an association of how I process things that I better understand helps me better deal with things I don't have an answer to. And so in this case, the manhole. The manhole is the question of what did I do wrong? And the unknown answers of the manhole is the same to me as the silence. And so I treat it the same way. And that's how I function. That's how I live with it. I can't speculate for him, can't speculate for you, can't speculate for your children or your estrangement reasons behind it. But in order to live with it, that's how I live with it. The association is the manhole. It is there. It is what it is. And I live walking very close to it, but still not falling into it. Right? The silence is the answer. And the thing about that, even though the silence is the answer, and as strong as the silence is, and as loud as the silence can be, right? It changed me, right? And what I want to say though is that the change is up to you, right? Because life will change you, right? Things happen, right? We have to live, right? And how we live and how we manage and how we move and how we grow and etc. It's still all part of the change. And so this has changed me, of course. And there's a whole, which is called the estrangement. That's the relationship. But the pieces that identify the estrangement is what I'm managing and how I'm living and how I am putting it in a place for me to be able to function out of the change in the relationship, the status of the relationship, right? Because to me, that's what estrangement is. Estrangement is the status of the relationship, and that I am to live not as an estranged parent, but as a parent who has an estranged adult child. And I think that's a significant difference. Okay, I hope that I kind of sort of answered the question as to, why my adult child won't tell me what I've done wrong. I hope this has helped you and with your question. I address all of this in my book of answers. I talk about this and a whole lot more. All the other questions that maybe we don't have answers to, or my own experience that I share. We have different stages in the estrangement dealing with it. I have been able to identify 5 different stages. I actually coach on that, to tell you honestly. I help people move through different stages, right? So I'm going to put all those links below in the description, of course, and I have weekly writings, and you can get the full article that I wrote about this. I'll put the link in here as well. But, I thank you for being here. I thank you for listening. I thank you for the outlet to be able to, talk about it and share and know that we are not alone. They say 1 in 4 families are dealing with estrangement in some capacity or another. That's a loud number. That's a loud number. And we have a right to find that support that's needed, that gets us through, that helps us, right? And be able to live fully. With that, till next time, thank you. If you are a parent living through estrangement, you know the questions don't stop. Why did they cut me off? Why are they not speaking to me? How long does estrangement last? On and on. I collected these questions that kept me awake at night, along with how I managed them to get to the other side of estrangement. I learned many parents of estrangement ask the same questions. The book is almost finished. Each question is met with gentle guidance based on my lived experience. Scan the QR code or go to the link in Linktree, The Estranged Parent, to get your free excerpt and be the first to be notified when the book is available. Thank you. Before I go, please subscribe to the channel. I also welcome your comments, and please share with someone else you may know who may also want to be part of this community. As a free gift, please scan the QR code to take the 7-question 2-minute quiz to receive your Dawn card of where you are in this journey. Thank you.